Welcome to the fascinating world of traffic signals. Today I am back out here at this intersection, but I'm here so I can answer some of the comments that y'all saw on the previous two videos of us installing these cameras, FYAs, and doing some new cable upgrades. So the first question I want to answer is, how do you decide between cameras or induction loops for detection? So that's not up for us to decide. We are contractors, we install the systems, but the state or the city has to go off of what they want to use, and then we just install what they want. So we don't really decide, the city or the state does. My preference would be the Wavetronics radars, but most of the time you'll start seeing a lot of these Iteris Next cameras, Wavetronics radars, inductive loops still. There's Myovision products, there's a bunch of products out there. And it all arrays between video, radar, even LiDAR, or inductive loops like the cable and the asphalt that you would typically see on older intersections or stuff that hasn't been upgraded. But we are doing away with a lot more inductive loops than we are installing them. We probably do less than 10,000 feet a year. So doing a lot more detection that's on mast arms, poles, things like that that we don't have to come back to and recut and redo every time new asphalt is laid. And hopefully a little bit less maintenance is what they're looking for. But again, to answer that question, I do not get to decide that. The next question, and I'll try to put the comments up on the screen as I read them, but 808 JPEM, you are asking about phases. Are they standard? And how can you, and can I spend some time explaining vehicle phases? So yes, I can. And right here is a door sticker. So as you can see, all of these vehicle approaches is a vehicle phase. So every approach out here at this intersection, how they're sitting here, the through lanes there is phase 6, and this left turn lane here is phase 1. They don't have it labeled, but this is phase 3, which is going to be the vehicle approaches across the street coming out of that Chili's and Ruby Tuesdays and Wendy's over there. That's phase 3. Over here is actually real fascinating on this side, because you got phase 4, which is the through lanes and the left turn lanes over here, and then we are using overlap B, which allows it with phase 4, and it also allows it with phase 5. Anytime those two phases are activated in green, you will get a green on the two right turn arrows over on the right hand turn sides over on that direction. So as it says on the door sticker, you got phase 4, but you actually have overlap B, and that will land down here on 14 R, Y, and G. That's our overlap B. The other overlaps are those flashing yellow arrows. And then on the other side, actually, yep, right here. So these guys across the street, the through lanes are gonna be phase 2. Lane right there is gonna be phase 5. So we use 2, 4, 6, and 8 as through lane phases. And then we will use 1 with phase 6, that's gonna be a left turn, 5 with phase 2, 3 with 8, and 7 with 4. That's pretty standard. Most states and most cities, most places are gonna do phasing setups like that and have like your odd numbers for left turns. It just kinda helps keep everything organized. And also you have to know how much your capacity per phase is, and knowing your phasing and your phasing diagrams help you out when doing traffic studies and research and everything that goes into the traffic signal side of things. So that's how phases work at a traffic intersection. You'll have like phase 6 as your through lanes, 1 as your left turn. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to hit the like button and make sure to subscribe. Let's get right back into it. The next question we have is, does this traffic signal controller ever count the amount of times a pedestrian push button like that one is across the street is pressed? And no, it does not. It only knows that you press it one time. When you press that, when you ground out a logic for the most part, and it sends back a ground to the pin connectors and it locks in a call. Once you press it more times, there's nothing that will rush that. You are added into a queue, and you will be served the walk indication once it's your turn on the approach. So it won't quicken up, it won't do anything, but it will cycle the intersection. Say if there's no vehicles on a present stop bar and you need a green light to walk across, it will activate the green light for that vehicle, even when there's no vehicles there. And it's why we don't just have PED phases all the time activated and why those buttons are in place to keep everything more efficient. Right, the next question from Gray Rabbit, you asked what happens to the old equipment. It seems like it would still be serviceable. Yeah, so an old traffic signal controller cabinet, it can get used during emergency calls, multiple different things, or just upgrades. Say it's a newer cabinet than some older place, but it got swapped out. It can now be in place of a different one and have more upgrades. But all of this old equipment can be reused. The actual cabinet that was here the other night, there was some concerning issues with it, where that one was probably going to get turned into a smoker or get scrapped. A lot of people like to try to turn these into smokers, so it's pretty cool when they do. Outside of that, if they are damaged, they'll get scrapped. Same with signal heads, those will just get junked. Even these poles and mast arms, it is harder to get them approved to new anchor bolts and foundations than it is to just scrap them. So we'll take a $10,000 pole. I've taken brand new ones and had to go scrap them and get like $600, $800 out of a $10,000 steel pole because a dump truck hit the foundation or hit the pole, so on and so on, and we had to tear down an intersection. It sucks, but it does end up taking more to get everything approved to reuse these mast arms. And there's plenty of other occasions that we have reused them. The city has gotten everything approved and they line out a project wanting to use old equipment, and we do so, but typically these things will get scrapped. Maggie, you asked, has anybody ever dropped any tools while they're up in the air, up in the bucket, or fixing a traffic light? Yes, I've seen many tools drop. Most of the times it's little nuts and bolts that people drop. Heck, I've even seen a couple traffic lights come and hit the ground. It's unfortunate, but we have been very lucky and have never had anybody get hurt while tools or anything else above in the aerial side or whatever falling down and getting hit. Nobody's ever been hurt or injured from it. Never hit any cars. But it is unfortunate. Tools do fall. It's really unfortunate when a signal or something expensive falls. But everything else can be pretty well replaced. Number Station, you asked, what do I film on and what do I use to edit my videos, and that you love the channel. I do appreciate that, man. And I use a GoPro Hero 11, and then I usually strap on a Hero 10 onto my chest, and then I just use CapCut on my phone to edit. I'm not very great at that stuff, but I try to make it entertaining for you guys, and I try to do the best I can with the filmmaking while also being educational about the things I'm passionate about, like traffic lights and my job. So thank you, I do appreciate it, and I always enjoy your viewership. All right, the next question from Gordon, you asked, how do the pedestrian heads know what to display? Do you program each head and they get a signal from the controller, or is there a controller just for the pedestrian heads? Thanks for the great content, I do appreciate you watching. And let's go over these PED heads real quick. So when you press that button, it puts in a call for the pedestrian channel. I could activate it, but let's not for the sake of it. But it puts in a call, and then once you get the walk indication, you can see down here we have a load switch, and on 9 red and 9 green, our walk is wired up to the 9 green, and the don't walk the hand sign that you would see on a PED head is wired into the red, and that controller will output which one it needs to be activated. So inside the PED head, it's 2 different lights or LED modules for the most part. And when the controller activates the red, you'll have the hand come up. And when it activates the green, you will have the walk indication come up. And then you also have a countdown that is activated through the controller. And that's how it knows how to display it. So the controller outputs to different parts of the load side of it, and that's what actually controls the PED head out in the field, and the timer and everything is inside the controller itself. Thank you for your question. All right, guys, last question, because it's getting a little bit warm out here. I'm trying to make a few more videos. And Caden, you asked, can I talk more about overlap phases? So yes, let's go ahead and do that. An overlap is going to be a green that is activated with a vehicle phase. So if we go into unit data here on this controller, hit 3 on overlap data, you can see we have FYA, a standard for B, and another FYA here. Well, if we hit the FYA, you can see the protected phase is phase 1. that is down here, and that's the actual green on one of these flashing yellow arrows, is going to be phase 1. Well, we need the flashing yellow arrow operation on it. That is going to be considered another green, but it will overlap and allow itself to be on when phase 1 is on. That means you actually get the actual protected phase. You won't have that flashing yellow arrow anymore. But your permissive phase, anytime phase 2 is activated, it will allow that flashing yellow arrow as an overlap, and it will, because technically that's a green out there, not a yellow, and it will allow that flash without putting the intersection into a conflict. Now, if we get into a more standard operation like this right here, overlap B, which is the 2 right turn red arrows over there, those overlaps will come on anytime phase 4 is activated, and anytime phase 5 is activated. You will get those green right hand turn arrows on that overlap B, and that's how it works together. So anytime these are activated, whether it has another phase activated at the same time, like 1 and 5 can be on together, you'll still have overlap B come on as green, but it's pretty much a green that is allowed and comes on with any specific approach that doesn't create a conflict. So it's how you can make an intersection more efficient. You can also do a lot more with them. You can end up running multiple intersections with one controller cabinet if you have it set up right, and more things you can do with the overlaps. It's pretty fascinating once you dig real deep into it, but it can be a little confusing. So overall, you know, more or less is a hard thing to explain. All right, guys, I hope you enjoy the videos, and I'm glad that y'all comment and actually want to learn more about the fascinating world of traffic signals. Stay tuned, because we will be doing more of these. So every video I post about me working out here and everything, I'll try to come through and do some more comments and answers to those comments. And I'm pretty sure it's something y'all would enjoy and can learn a little bit more in depth into the signal side of things. So if there's anything you want to learn more into, make sure to comment down below and stay tuned for updated videos. And make sure to also comment down, because you'll never know when your comment is actually selected and that I can talk about it. So as always, thanks for watching.